a relationship, in a marriage, whatever, how rigid do you think these gender roles need to be?
It's all made up. It's all been propaganda. So there's no real gender roles. It's really what's going to fit best for you. I mean it's every situation you could think of. Does it matter what the gender is? Like, yeah, sometimes I make the bed. Half the time we don't. 99% of the time we don't. Like, it doesn't. I don't. You don't need anyone to make a decision for you for whether that's a male thing or a female thing. It doesn't have any bearing on it. So like I mean, and it's funny because we talk about perspectives and backgrounds. In my being Jewish, like, always coming from a Jewish household, and then like going to Jewish summer camp, and then like spending all that time around other families.
Mm-hmm.
The woman has full control. Like, there's no such thing. There's like, so when you think about, like, when people think about like whether or not like the male or the female has control in the relationship and the gender role, there's no such thing. Like, it's whatever the woman wants. Like, it's like she's the mother, she's the most important person. You do for her. Like, you don't go to work. Like, when I go to, like, one day when I have a family, it's like I'm gonna go to work so I can support her, even though she's gonna be able to support herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be a group effort, and each contribution is important, but it's also how it works. Like, I have a friend who is literally a trained chef. He's gonna cook. Like, it's not gonna be his wife. Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
Like, that's it's I think we're too far past that. And I think if people hold on to those ideals, they create tension for no reason.
Tension for no reason. Okay, thank you, Josh. Alicia, what are you gonna add, lady? What you got to say? Go ahead and bring it.
Well, first of all, I think Josh is looking at my note cards over here because you watch that video and you go to home economics when you're in high school, junior high school, and they show you these old school videos, and you're like, oh my God, I want my life to be like I'm a princess and I'm staying at home and I'm taking care of this man. And hell's no, because when you become an adult and you become a woman, you're like, I make my own money, I can do my own shit. Am I allowed to cuss? I can do my own stuff. And so it is propaganda. So a lot of people are fed into what the news and the media and magazines are telling us that we have to be, we want to do. But reality is, just like Josh said, is you have to set your own rules, boundaries, and responsibilities in your own relationship. Cannon, I had a horrible marriage. It was trash on a stick, whatever. And so when I went into my new relationship with my partner that I've been with for 5 years now, it's like, I'm going to spend my money how I want. I'm going to do what I want. Don't tell me what to do. And he's like, oh, those are the boundaries? Great. I can work with that. And so just like you're sharing is, I'm going to do what I want. I don't really think there needs to be a rigidness. We set rules inside the relationship. The only problem I see is when you get into a relationship and you're learning about somebody, it's like, oh, this is how this person is. And the deeper I get into this relationship, let me see how I can bend it to where they're more what I want them to do versus who they are. And when that starts to happen, bye, bro. See you on the flip side. Never, because I want to do what I want, be who I want, make money how I want, spend it how I want. And there doesn't need to be really rigidness. It just set some rules and boundaries within your relationship. If they work, awesome. If they don't, goodbye. There's plenty of fish in the sea, bro.
Okay, thank you. And shout out to our viewers. Hey, Janae Nicole for joining in with us. eBlack TV. Oh, our friend Daryl. Hey, how you doing? I see you down there in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. And so, Darwin, what were you going to add?
Well, y'all pretty much know my take on this. I don't believe in gender roles. I do believe I sometimes fall into gender roles just because I take pride in most of the things that men do, as far as being a protector of the house, sports, and teaching young men how to fight. Just being tough. And get my nephews, my little cousins, I rough them up, and I do all those things to make men out of them. So they say, but that's just because that's the way I was raised. But generally, I do not believe in gender roles. I like to cook. I like to clean. I was doing that before I got married. Everything that people say a man should do because of his gender, I think he should do it because he's just a human being, cleaning and cooking. I never ever wanted to be able to depend on a woman to have to cook and clean for me. I've seen what that looks like. I've seen men that doesn't even know how to boil a hot dog. it's just a bad look for men, for me personally, to have to put all of that weight on a woman to get things taken care of. And as a leader of my family, I would never put those gender roles on my wife, because I know that's gonna, the roles that they say a woman has outweighs the roles of a man all day long, you know. So if we went on those gender roles, my wife would be wore out at the end of the day, and I just wouldn't be able to live with myself if I just went by those roles. So no, I do not believe in those. But I will admit, if I was in another tax bracket, I probably would, because that would allow another type of balance. But the tax bracket that we're in now, I think the balance that we need, we don't need gender roles, and I think that's for more majority of the households. If I had $30 million, of course I would like to just work and let my wife stay at home and do the cooking and cleaning, and vice versa. If she was making $30 million, I would stay at home and do the cooking and cleaning and take the kids to school and doctor visits and stuff like that. So I don't think it's a gender thing, you know. It's just a balance of the household and how that however that train operates the best. I think the two people should just let it happen.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
if you think about that, by the way, if you think about the
Mhm.
reason why they pushed all the women back into the houses, is because they were working when all the men were at war, and then they were afraid that what the men would do when they came back from war.
They wouldn't
Like
have
they were like scared shitless, basically. Like, what are they going to do? Like, how are they going to react to women taking their jobs, doing all of this? So they're like, oh, let's put them all back into the homes. Let's put them all back into the kitchen, and let's try to advertise specifically to them so we can make them and their husbands spend all the money.
Yep, that is true.
That is what I want to pick up on, because I think the whole Susie Homemaker just really kicks up the consumerism in us, you know, because you always have to have the best dishwasher. What do they call it? Keeping up with the Joneses, you know. It's just, it puts you right back in the rat race. Dick and Jane, Dick's got to keep going out there and working because Jane is going to keep, you know, trying to stay up.
She needs things.
It's important.
Yeah, I think, you know, just follow the capitalism, right? With most of the stuff. that's a pretty strong example. I think that's absolutely correct, Josh.
Me personally, I've never seen a house based on gender roles. Like personally, I've seen it on TV, but all the married people I know, all the people in long relationships, I don't see this dynamics happening. So I don't, you know, it's very much just made up, you know. And I'm talking about marriage that I see that looks successful. I don't, you know, of course, I'll never know what's going on in the inside of a person's household or whatever. But from looking out, both couples work. They both take care of the kids. They do these things. I don't see the woman just slaving over stoves and laying on the back. I see strong women doing all working, taking care of the kids. I see men stepping up, taking care of the kids. But I do see more men preaching this gender role thing as if it's really happening, you know. And I don't know why that is. I think it's just because they want control or something like that. Now I think that's the only reason this little gender role conversation keeps coming about when it's not even happening, you know, and on an everyday basis with these couples and these marriages and stuff like that.
Oh, it's happening too. It's happening too. If you the average BYU graduate that's a woman, Brigham Young University, she makes $8,000 a year. Is because most of them are women that are in the homes that are having multiple children and they do not work. So that's they literally are going to BYU
to get
their MRS degree, and that's what they're doing. They're getting their master's degree, and they're having families, and that's the role that the Mormon churches seem to kind of foster, and they still have those gender roles, and that's a very specific thing. So it's crazy to see the different communities. It's similar in the Hasidic Jewish community. Like a lot of it's tied back to the religion based on how their faith is, and they've created these roles, and now we've like stuck with them for some reason.